Welcome back, Hive Mind. This is Shalazar with Hive Mind Gaming, coming at you with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're doing a count takeover for a guildie of mine named Jack Meehoff. Now he's German. He's very proud of his surname. Very great guy. So let's get into it. So Jack was wanting to look at a different way of doing clan boss. Now he currently does Nightmare, and we're looking at jumping him up to Ultra Nightmare. So just to play around with it, because I've never done it before, we were going to look at the budget Maneater comp, um, mainly in proof of concept. Now, and the reason why I say that is because you'll understand when we get into it. We don't. He's a fairly new player. He has some really great champions and some pretty good gear, but to make this composition work, he really we really had to manipulate and play a game of Tetris when it came to the actual gear itself, as you can see. So I managed to go ahead and get a lot of the gear leveled up, but not all of it's leveled up on all of the champions. Not everybody has masteries. Everybody's booked the way they should be, etc. But we'll get into that more fully. But let's get into Maneater, who is the man of the hour. So this composition needs 3 champions to make this work. The first champion it needs is the named champion, which is Maneater. So the first thing you want to make sure is that his A3 is fully booked. Okay, it will not work unless this is booked. It needs to get down to the 5-turn cooldown. Now, if you don't know who Maneater is or what he does, basically this skill right here is the only thing we care about. It basically gives your whole team unkillable and block debuffs for 2 turns. Now, this is going to allow them to withstand the damage, or not be killed by damage, for 2 of those turns. And then, at that point, it also is going to protect your slow boy when the boss does the stun. And then for masteries, we don't have them completely mastered out. This is why I say it's proof of concept, because it's going to get a lot better, do a lot more damage, all that. Once he gets him fully mastered and fully decked out, then that's when this composition's actually going to shine its brightest. All right, so basically what we did is, like usual for clan boss, we're going to go straight down this. We're going to come to here to pick War Master up. Then our main goal is to get down to here for retribution to get that possible counter attack later on as well. So that's where we were going with Maneater, and that's where I would suggest that he go as he's going through. We did take Grim Resolve because it increases damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with 50% HP or less. So because our guys are going to be taking tons of damage toward the middle and end of the fight, they're never going to have enough HP to actually make Heart of Glory work for them as well as Grim Resolve will. So they'll get more damage output by Grim Resolve than they will Heart of Glory. Alright, as usual with all masteries, make sure you guys keep in mind that these are specific to your champs, not mine. So the masteries you see any content creator do, take it as a guide. Don't take it as law or written in stone. Make it work for what you want your team to be able to accomplish. All right, so with the gear, we've got his now, like I said, it was a extreme game of Tetris to get the gear and the numbers to work right. And I'm going to show you here in just a second why that is, and just to show you some of the gear is. All right. So the reason is because we want Maneaters. There's only 3 stats that we care about, okay, to make it work. Now, obviously, as gear gets better and as his masteries get better and things like that, we'll obviously want to worry about attack and crit rate and crit damage. But as of right now, there's only 3 stats that we care about. One is his health points, one is his defense, and the other is his speed. His speed for this to work has to be 240 or 241. It's the only way for this to work. The only reason why hit points and speed matter so much, like I said, there are 3 champs to make this work. You've got Maneater, Painkeeper, and then you're going to have a slow boy. Your slow boy is going to take the stun. So what we have to do, we have to trick the clan boss into attacking the slow boy. So how this works, when you're doing the clan boss and you're fighting and you're dropping your A3 on for Maneater, what you're doing is you're throwing out that defense going, okay, I'm going to be protected by block debuffs and unkillable. So that means any damage that comes in, it doesn't matter how much it is, it's not going to kill us. We can't die from it. So there's 3 attacks that the clan boss does. He does an AoE, then the next turn he does an AoE, and then his 3rd turn, every 3 turns, he does a big slam stun on 1 target. So what we want to do is we want to be protected by Maneater's unkillable and block debuffs buff during those 2 AoEs, and then we want our slow boy to be still protected once the stun comes in. So how we do that is we make sure everyone's taking their turns like normal, but the slow boy, the reason we call him the slow boy, he's only getting 1 turn during that time. So that means when Maneater throws out his unkillable and block debuffs buff, he's only going to take 1 turn when it's going to be on him for 2 turns. So by the time the clan boss comes back around and does his stun, he's going to hit the slow boy, so that the slow boy is the one that takes it, and so 1, he doesn't die from the punch, and 2, he doesn't get stunned because he's got the block debuffs on. Now, the problem is you got to trick the clan boss into targeting the slow boy, and that's where the hit points and defense come in. So the higher the hit points and the lower the speed, the lower the defense on the slow boy is what tricks him to do that. It's with all fights. You can do this when you're trying to get someone to tank your spiderlings. You can do this when you're trying to get the adds, the waves to attack your tank when you're doing dungeons, any kind of dungeons. Or if you're just trying to get someone like Foley to attack you in arena, attack your protected tank in arena. It's all about affinity. It takes affinity into consideration, and it takes in your hit points slash speed or slash defense. I keep wanting to say speed for some reason, but anyway, it takes in your your percentage of health that your champion has compared to his overall health. So the ratio of health that he has left versus the number of health that he started with. So the objective is to get your slow boy to have the most health out of all your other champions and less defense, so he's taking more damage as he's getting hit. And then once Painkeeper comes in, she will have a role in helping all that work. And I'll explain that when we get to Painkeeper. So the first thing we want to do with Maneater is get his speed to 240, 241, and then we want to get his hit points slightly below your slow boy, but your defense higher than your slow boy, so that he's taking less damage than your slow boy is. Now for the next chimp we need for this composition to work is going to be Painkeeper. Now Painkeeper is integral in this as well as Maneater, and the reason is because of her A3, which has to be fully booked up, and the reason is it decreases the cooldown of all ally skills by 1 turn. So this is going to allow her to lower the cooldown on Maneater's A3, so that's going to help out. And then her other skill that's really important for this to work, which also needs to be fully booked up because it gets the cooldown, is her heal ability. So this is going to attacks all enemies, then heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. So it's based off her max HP. Alright, for her masteries, again, she's not fully mastered, but we did come down this way so that we could, one, get, we took the defense or the support tree so that, one, we can boost her healing, and two, we can come down here and get Lore of Steel to get her a little more speed. And then, of course, we're just going to go straight down this tree on the offense side, coming all the way down to War Master once we get her mastered out. Alright, as for her artifacts, again, the game of Tetris. And then for her stats, we've got the 28,000, 28k HP. We've got the 2k defense, and her speed needs to be around 219 for this to work. So the next champion we need for this to actually work is going to be your slow boy. Now you can use anyone for this champion. Any DPS, anyone that's going to be pumping out damage, and actually a big damage dealer is not a bad idea, but keep in mind they're only taking 1 turn, so per cycle. So you want to make sure that it's someone that really isn't going to be missed when you're actually in the fighting. So who I chose, and you also want to make them affinity friendly so that you don't have to change out your slow boy when it comes to affinities. And the person I chose was Bulwark. Now, the reason I chose Bulwark is because of his passive. When attacked, has a 30% chance of extending the duration of all debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. So that's the reason why we chose Bulwark here, because, yeah, I mean, that ability right there is fantastic. Plus, he brings also HP burn and weaken to the fight, so it does help as well. For his stats, again, we're looking at a game of Tetris to get everything to work. Now, when it comes to his stats, we need his speed to be very low, around the 113 area. So you want to get it in this sweet spot. That's going to allow him to only go the one time that you need him to go, so that he takes the stun. So he's slow enough to take the stun and still have those buffs on him. Now, we have him just slightly higher HP than the Maneater at 36.8k. And then we've got his defense way, way lower, though. Now, for this to work better, raising his HP would also be very good. The problem is that the gear. It really boils down to the gear. I mean, to get this to work, you really have to have a lot of options in your gear. So I spent 3 days working on this. So But anyway, let's see. So his, like I said, his speed is down to 113. So now how all this works is what you're going to do is you're going to use your Painkeeper when she uses her A2, which is the heal. It's going once everybody's at 0 health, and by 0 because of the AOE gets thrown out, and then they all have unkillable on. Once they go down to 0 health, Painkeeper is going to heal everyone exactly the same amount because it's based off of her health, her hit points. So everyone's going to be healed the exact same amount, percentage wise, off of her HP, but it's all going to be a different ratio based on how much hit points each person has. And this is why it's important that his HP is higher than everyone else's, because that means his ratio is going to be way lower. Okay, and the fact that he has a lower defense means that every turn after that he's going to take more damage than everybody else. So his ratio will constantly be lower, or the ratio will constantly be higher than everyone else's. So therefore the clan boss is going to attack him. Alright, so next we have our 2 DPS. And you can use any DPS. I would suggest at least one of them being a poisoner. But the first one we've got is Rosin, because he is free to play friendly, because eventually you can fuse him through there. And now for this we have 175 to 177 is the range you want your 2 DPS to be. And again, we have the 29.9k hit points with the 2.7 speed, or 2.7 defense. And then, of course, we've got the crit rate so that he can hopefully get some crit out there, some defense chests, speed boots, and again, his masteries. Now, what we'll probably do here is go this way all the way into Giant Slayer because he has that multi-hit. Now, we did take Heart of Glory on him because Rosin is just an all-around great champion, and he'll be able to use Rosin in other dungeons as well. Down here, we'll also probably want to take Master Hexer so that we can extend those debuffs that Rosin throws out. But the other side of that is we need to get his accuracy up just a little bit more. But like I said, leveling up the gear will also help with that. So he does have a accuracy banner that once it's leveled up will also help with that. Things like that. So lots of good options there for him to grow for these champs. As you can see, their gear is not all maxed out, but Frozen Banshee is going to be our second DPSer. Now, she's at 175 speed. Her HP is 32.9k, and her defense is 2.3k. And then for her masteries, this is what we went with again because they're not going to have a lot of health. And we came down the support tree to give her more accuracy and more chances to extend those debuffs with War Master. She's going to be your primary damage dealer until Rosin gets his masteries and gets his stuff done, gets his gear boosted a little bit, because Rosin can pump out damage too. I mean, he's not going to pump out the damage that Frozen Banshee's going to do, but he's going to help with that. Also, this composition is great for all 3 bosses, Brutal, Nightmare, and Ultra Nightmare. So for today's video, we're only going to do the Ultra Nightmare run. If you guys want to see a video on the other 2 runs, I can just leave it in the comments and let me know that you want to see those runs. But for today's video, we're just going to do the Ultra Nightmare run. So let's get into it. Alright, so this is our composition here. We've got Frozen Banshee as lead, and so these two are our only two options. Accuracy is great because we have Rosin, who's low on accuracy anyway, and it will help these two as well. And then the other thing is he's got a defense aura, and we really don't want that defense aura messing with our numbers when it comes to making sure that the clan boss is doing damage to our slow boy, right? So we don't want that to be thrown in the mix to screw us up, because like I said, it's a game of Tetris to get it to work just right. So let's jump in. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you're not on auto. So turn count 0, Maneater is going to use his A3. Painkeeper is going to use her A3. And then it's going to go to turn count 1. Now turn count 1, your DPS are going to use the skills that they normally would use. Maneater's going to use his A1 or A2, whichever fancies your boat, or however that saying goes. Now, she's going to use her A1. She's going to skip using her A2. And then she's got to take that hit right there. And luckily she didn't get crit. Now here's the thing. If she gets crit right there, you might as well restart the run, because it's not going to work. She's going to take the stun. So you've got to pay attention to that. And if she takes the stun, the great part about not losing a key if you don't finish the run, you just push the little square on your phone and you close the app, and then you bring it back up, and you won't lose the key. If you leave the fight for this corner right here, if you go here and you leave battle, then you will still lose your key. So you've got to actually close the app on your phone. If you're on your PC and you're on Polarium Play, it's very easy. You just close the app and you just bring it back up, and you haven't lost your key. Okay, so at this point, we're in turn count 2, and this one's very easy. At this point, you can actually hit auto, but we're going to go ahead and manual it so you can see what's going to happen. And just play it as if you were going to manual it, or if it was on auto. So here she would prioritize her 2, and there, now our stun goes on to our stun boy. And then at this point, you can just auto the fight. Alright, here we are. We're on turn count 48. We're only going to do about a little over 14k damage. Like I said before, it's proof of concept. It's just to get it there, the composition there, so that he can continuously bring that level up by adding masteries, actually leveling the champions, leveling gear on a few of them, things like that. So, I mean, right there, it's 14,000 damage. 3 of the champions are level 50. There's only 1 legendary, and it's a free-to-play friendly legendary. And 3 of those are rares. So, I mean, I think that's pretty good for Ultra Nightmare. And the crazy part is it could be a lot better. This guy doesn't have the best gear. He doesn't have the best champions. He doesn't... guys, it's just... You're there. You can do this. This is a very difficult game of Tetris that you play, but once you get that game of Tetris played, you're golden. And like I said, the only thing he's going to need to do now, level his guys, level his masteries, level his gear, and he's going to start pumping out some damage. This could easily be a 3-key team. Easily. Golden, this is a great composition, an easy composition. Easy as in easy to come up with the tunes. Yes, I understand that 3 of them are void. And yeah, I realize that they're hard to come up with. But it's going to be easier than coming up with Legos. You're going to get these voids before you're going to get some of the Legos like Draco and and Vizier and all these other, clan boss legendaries. I mean, let's face it, you're just going to. I mean, he did. So, all right, guys. Like I said, if you want to see a video on the other 2 dungeons, let me know. We can probably work that out. They're a little more complicated to set up. Said and done. I do want to give a shout out. Like I said, it took me 3 days to put this composition together, and the reason it took me that long is because I was stubborn and wanted to do it myself. And it turns out I was implementing it in the calculator all wrong. And by calculator, if you don't know what that means, what I want you to do right now is head on over to deadwoodjedi.com. Now, this guy, and I'm sure if you're watching my videos, you know who Deadwood Jedi is, because he's badass. I mean, just the coolest dude for one, and then on 2, very knowledgeable, and just an all-around badass. I mean, he just is. He has put in blood, sweat, and tears to put together a website. Him and his crew. He's got a group of guys that help him out, and those guys helped me out. Him and Bobo over on his Discord, which I'm gonna have a link to his website, to his Discord, and to his YouTube channel in the description. If you can, show this guy some love. Join his Patreon, because I am, and help this guy out any way you can. I make these videos for the fun of it. I don't get paid to do it. I'm not big enough to get paid to do it, nor do I care to be big enough to do it, to get paid to do it. I do it because I love doing it, and I'm having a blast doing them. He does it because it's his job. Give that guy some love. Help that guy out, because he's badass, and he's doing it because he loves it, but it's also his job, so he would love to have your help. But guys, I mean, I was 3 days on this project. I went over to their Discord. I finally said, screw it, I'm going to ask for help. Asked a single question. They started asking me questions on how I had things set up, and it took them 5 minutes to figure out what I was doing wrong. And I fixed that one thing, and boom, it worked, no problem. And it was because I was entering something wrong in the calculator. I was making the mistake on how I was entering something. It worked. All I had to do is actually try it out and see if it worked in play, and it worked just fine. So everything I was doing was right. I was just putting it in wrong in the calculator, so it was frustrating me, because I was like, why isn't it showing that it's working on the calculator? And it's because of this young lady right here. The way she has to be inputted into the calculator is different because of how her abilities work. So her skills have to be put in a certain way because of the way her skills work. So it was my fault for not understanding how that worked on the calculator, and they spotted it in like minutes. So huge shout out to Bobo and Deadwood Jedi and all his crew over on his Discord. They're fantastic guys. So please do me a favor, go show him some love. throw him a like, throw him a sub, because he's way knowledgeable in this stuff than I am. I do it for fun. He does it because he loves it too, but he has a lot of fun while doing it as well. So, but hey guys, I appreciate you. If you like what you've seen and you want to see more, just hit the like and subscribe and let me know in the comments. But I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you soon.